Want to make your rhythm playing sound more interesting? Instead of just strumming, try arpeggios. Stick around and I'll show you how to break up your chords for a rich, professional sound and create a more melodic, smoother sound that adds more emotion to your chord progressions. Real quick, if you don't already know who I am, my name's Wade Collins and I run Guitar Fastlane, a worldwide online guitar school. I've been playing, performing, teaching, and writing songs for over 20 years. I've played on many stages, in bands, and solo, and even recorded and mixed albums. But enough about me, let's get to the lesson. First, what is an arpeggio? Sounds pretty fancy, but all it means is that you're picking the notes of a chord one at a time. And it doesn't have to be moving up in pitch or moving down in pitch. It could be moving up, moving down, skipping notes, anything you want. It just means you're taking a chord and picking certain notes from it one at a time. So what's the right hand technique that we should use for this? Well, if you're moving just up in pitch with the notes, you want to use something called sweep picking. So I could do a full lesson just on sweep picking, but just to get you started here, what you want to think about is instead of having the tip of your pick pointing straight into the sound hole, you want to have your pick on a slight angle, and you want to sweep or just kind of lightly drag the pick across the strings. And it'll give you a smoother motion rather than having to do alternate picking or picking one string at a time individually. You just want to sweep across gently like that. So let's take a chord progression of A minor, C major, F, and G. So an easy way to get started with this is we'll just play 4 notes out of each chord. So we're going to start with the lowest note and we'll play that from the A minor chord and then the C major chord, F, and then G. So just playing the lowest 4 notes of the chord. We can also work in the other direction. You can start with the highest notes. So A minor, we'll start on the high E string. And then C major. And then F. And then G. So that's a really easy way to start playing arpeggios with the chords that you might already know. So play around with this, take the chords that you know, create some different chord progressions, and just pick down and pick up. Now there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can implement these. Like I said before at the start of this, you don't have to pick in just one direction. You can skip strings, you can jump back and forth and do whatever you like. The idea is that you're taking a chord and just playing individual notes from that chord one at a time. So some great song examples of this would be Animals, House of the Rising Sun. Another example would be Jeff Buckley's Hallelujah. And also another example would be Sweet Home Alabama by Lynyrd Skynyrd. It's a very common one. So if you look at these songs, let's say House of the Rising Sun by the Animals. We're just taking chords and we're playing from the lowest note to the highest note and then back a little bit. And then same with the next chord and the next chord. For Hallelujah, it's a similar idea, but we're adding some walking bass notes into this. So for this song, it kind of sounds like this. And if we look at Sweet Home Alabama, we're taking a D chord, you could use a C or C add 9, and then a G chord. Hey, if you're enjoying this lesson, do me a quick favor, hit that like button. It helps me know what to create for you next. Thanks so much, and let's get back into it. So those are a few cool different ways that you can use arpeggios in songs. And you can actually use a mix of those, of playing the individual notes and then also the actual full chords, just like we showed with that Sweet Home Alabama song. Now some more advanced different arpeggio patterns that you could use would be like the song Simple Man by Lynyrd Skynyrd. So there's a walk in to this song. It's played like that. And then there's a picking pattern that they follow for most of these chords, like this. If they wanted to, they could have just strummed that song, played the chords. But it's not quite as exciting. So instead, take that exact same chord progression and you can completely change it by adding a picking pattern to it or creating arpeggios with it. Another example would be Ain't Talking About Love by Van Halen. It starts with the A minor chord, and then it goes to an F, and then a G, So again, it's just going from an A minor to an F chord to a G chord, but it's a much cooler way to do it. It makes it sound much more unique. Another really popular example of this would be Fast Car by Tracy Chapman. Again, she could have just played chords for that, but instead this makes it sound a lot more interesting. It really draws you in. Some other great song examples that use arpeggios, which you might know, would be Dust in the Wind, Tears in Heaven, and Under the Bridge. These are really popular songs too. There's so many out there, but these are just some great examples to get you started. So start applying this. Like I said, take some chord progressions that you already know. Try picking from the lower notes to the higher notes. Go from the higher notes to the lower notes. Try skipping some strings, mixing up lower notes with higher notes, and just getting really creative with it. There's so many different ways you can use this, and it really adds a lot of taste and variety into your music. Instead of just strumming all the time, you can start adding some really neat arpeggios and picking into your playing. And another thing you can think about also is not just the picking, but what can you do to remove notes or fingers and add them back in? So if we're playing the A minor chord, we could lift off the ring finger on the G string. Something like that. You can do the same thing with the C chord. You can pull your first finger off or your middle finger. Just fun ways to mix it up. Or if you listen to the song Simple Man by Leonard Skinner, you notice that they do this note right here, 3rd fret on the high E string. So as you're playing around with this, try adding notes, try removing notes, and see what it does to the sound. And like I said, pick down, pick up, skip strings, do different patterns, and this will really open up a whole lot of doors for you with your music. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one. You've made it this far, so I know you're serious about improving your guitar skills. Why not keep the momentum going? Hit subscribe to make sure you don't miss our future lessons, and then click on your next lesson right here. I think you'll love it. I'll see you over there.